got a really popular issue with libertarians.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, everybody can hear me all right? Yes? Okay, thank you. Thanks for your attention today. I very much appreciate it. As was mentioned, my name is Jay Selthofner. I'm a marijuana activist, and I'm pretty proud of it, you know, and the people who know me and know my activism, the grassroots activism that I perform on a consistent basis, they call me nuts. They really do. And I am nuts. I'm especially nuts about this little powerful thing called the hemp seed. And it's just unique, long-standing relationship with humanity. If we start looking at it, it is an interesting topic. Today, you know, modern science has revealed that the hemp seed itself contains all of the essential acids and the fatty acids really that are essential for life. It's a sustainable product. And it's been touted by some nutritional experts as nature's perfect food for all of humanity. Just to give you kind of a small example of what the hemp seed can do, and again, it's a nut. That's why I started out with the phrase I'm nuts for cannabis. But it's really the inside of the seed of that hemp nut that is very special. And it's a raw material, a raw good that we make many products from that a lot of people don't realize. And it comes from edible products, from breads, milk, cereals, protein powders. You know, all of these products can be developed from this little seed. And that's, you know, not even before we squeeze the seed, we got some juice out of it. And we use that juice for lots of things too. Lots of edibles. Salad oil, supplements to foods. Moving a little bit on, it's used in body care, shampoos. It's a solvent. You squeeze that seed, you get juice out of it, and you can make printing things out of it. So it's food, fuel, fiber, you know, and diesel fuel. Everybody remembers how much it hurts when we pull that trigger, because I call it trigger at the gas station now, because it feels like we're committing suicide every time. But, you know, that trigger, if for some reason we could have some sort of biodiesel coming out of it, it would be much more economical for us as consumers. Those products, you know, we've hit those products in the seed before we even hit the stalk of the plant or the fibers of the plant. And, you know, there's more to medical marijuana than smoking dope. And there's more to industrial hemp than making rope. We can make building materials out of this. Compression molding, textiles, carpeting, boiler fuels, paper products. It's a versatile plant. You know, before we even harvest anything from this plant, before we take one economical value out of it, it has some farm implementations right away. It's an ideal rotation crop. The roots anchor and aerate the soil. They reduce soil runoff, soil loss, soil erosion. The roots can actually pull toxins from the soil, pull chemicals from the soil, can leach these toxins out. As the leaves fall to the ground, this process helps return nutrients to the soil. We can do this and use the plant to basically create a cultivation area free of weeds, pun intended, free of weeds, and actually free of weed toxins that is normally used to eradicate these weeds. This is all done before any part of the plant is sold. And really, when we think about it, the hemp has farm value, even if no part of the plant is sold, but it's still illegally grown. I don't understand it. And a lot of other people don't either when you start thinking about industrial hemp. Now, moving forward to medical marijuana, we understand that people have been using this plant medicinally since prehistory. This plant has been used since prehistory medicinally. And despite conventional belief, marijuana it's non-toxic and it is non-intoxicating. That's right, it's non-toxic, non-intoxicating. It's actually psychoactive, very much similar to caffeine on the drug scale. Because THC, the primary ingredient in cannabis, does not, again I repeat it, does not react to the brainstem. It's impossible to overdose on this plant. Nobody in history has ever died Now, people understand that it is usually smoke, but there's vaporization, marijuana can be eaten. The medical marijuana market and industry has really advanced, leaps and bounds over the last decade. And we're seeing drinks available, cannabis drinks, salves, oils, tinctures, suppositories. There are so many different ways to use this plant and to take it and receive its medicinal values. We all know that the psychotherapeutic properties of cannabis help relieve a variety of ailments, including anxiety, pain, fear. It's also been used for other discomforts. It's wonderful for controlling muscle spasms and tremors and involuntary movements. The benefits and effects of marijuana ultimately, though, do depend on a few variables. The strain of marijuana that you're using, the potency, and of course, the user, the end person, and how that medication is taken, whether it's taken orally, smoked. So we have to understand that the two plants are different, but are the same, and they need to be utilized for what they are. Just to give you a little quick update, I'm in Wisconsin. I'll give you a little quick update on what a medical marijuana law kind of looks like as these states try to progress it. And this is what our act was designed to do in Wisconsin. It was really designed to create a list of conditions in which a doctor can recommend the use of this plant. Ours contain the common language, including ailments such as glaucoma, AIDS, Crohn's disease, hepatitis C, PTSD, or post-traumatic stress syndrome, Alzheimer's, ALS, and of course the various cancers. The bill was also designed to allow patients and caregivers to cultivate live cannabis plants. We had a 12-plant limit here in Wisconsin, also 3 ounces of usable material. It would require our regulatory body, which is the Department of Health Services, to establish that registry, to license distribution centers, and to regulate. It also did create or recognize the medical defense, so we could use that defense if that ever happened. Most importantly, it didn't change federal law. Our legislation started off with a bang. We actually had 2 referendums in Wisconsin that we placed on the ballots by initiative, collecting signatures, getting on the ballots. Wisconsin is a non-binding state, so our ballot initiatives are not legal binding. But we had 2 of them on the ballot, one in Dane County, which is a very liberal county, and then one in the city of River Falls, going a little bit more as a conservative area. Both of those referendums did pass in Wisconsin, 76% in Dane County, 68% in River Falls. The note I'd like to point out there is in Dane County, the referendum received a higher percentage of the votes than any candidate. Ultimately, though, our bill died in the health committees. We have a Senate and Assembly health committee, and unfortunately, the bill did not get out of committee, and ultimately, that's where it saw its demise. So we understand that being creative with cannabis is going to be the key. I was chatting with the Minnesota NORML folks, and the legislators there have been looked at as somewhat progressive on the marijuana issue. And they actually have another bill that's going forward today, just to see how activists and legislators are tackling it on all fronts. They have a bill which is HF 662, not important to remember the number, but basically what the bill is in Minnesota does not have a medical marijuana program on the books right now. But they have legislation that's active to allow Minnesota farmers to grow and export medical marijuana to those states that have the programs. So no patients can use it in the state, but we can have people grow it as commerce and sell it to other states that are legal. And if you read the language of the bill, that's exactly what it says. It says it finds the production and export of medical marijuana can contribute to the state's economy, agricultural vitality, and should be regulated so that it doesn't interfere with the state's controlled substance act. So again, there are more than one way to tackle reform, and that's the important thing about having several pieces of legislation moving at the same time. Moving on to the federal end, speaking, we have 3, not necessarily historic, but very important bills before us at this time. Talking about hemp, federally speaking, is a situation where we have real consequences today. There's real lost opportunities today, both for our farmers and business owners. Right now, it's estimated that the hemp goods or hemp industry is about $420 million in estimated retail sales. The American companies that make and package and sell these goods, they have no choice but to import their raw materials at this point because farmers cannot grow this product domestically because it's confused with drug species of the cannabis plant. Again, even though industrial hemp is a non-drug species. The sustainable hemp seed fiber and oils, as we learned, are already used in nutritious foods, in the body cares, and even in auto parts. Many of our American companies today are just simply importing these raw materials. So if we could follow in some of the steps of our founding fathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, they were all hemp farmers. And we need to really allow our farmers to participate in this sustainable and profitable non-drug crop. But we know that we still have a situation where maybe we're not legalizing industrial hemp because it could get confused with marijuana for some reason, or medical marijuana. Whatever the reason is, we need to address those things too. The House bill, if anybody wants to write down the number, is 1831. HR 1831. It's generically labeled the Industrial Hemp Farming Act of 2011. I'm not going to read you the whole bill, but the gist of it is it would allow the licensing and regulation of the commercial production of hemp. Not too much of a no-brainer. And like I said, it defines that what hemp should be less than 1% of THC or the active ingredient. The passage of 1831 would really grant farmers access to a viable alternative crop without altering or really interfering with the existing state laws that are already in place. And we could do so without discouraging or encouraging the use of recreational cannabis. And the two should really be removed from each other. So there is a congressional research report that always goes along with every bill that's introduced. This one, the highlights of it does point out that there are 30 countries currently that do cultivate the hemp cannabis plant, the United States not being one of them. So it is a global economy already. $400 million a year existing industry already. Some experts indicate that the ancillary products and services from that could exponentially increase. Two other important bills that are out there is HR 1831, or excuse me, HR 1983, and HR 2306. What HR 1833 is designed to do is eliminate this problem we have with the federal government right now, stopping existing programs, existing states' programs such as medical marijuana. What 1983 would do is basically remove that barrier and allow the state's medical marijuana programs to exist as the states intended it to. Actually exist as our federal system intended for states to make these laws. So it's very, very important that even though we do not have a medical marijuana program in Wisconsin right now, that we support this federal legislation so that hopefully frees up some barriers for us. HR 2306 is the bill that's been set to end and repeal marijuana prohibition once and for all. It's really set and modeled after the repeal of alcohol prohibition. HR 2306 had bipartisan support. Many co-sponsors have helped out with the bill and have signed on since then. When we look at the 70-year failure, we need an alternative approach to our drug policy. As we learned, I really feel that we as a nation, we could feed the hungry. We could clothe the poor. We could provide relief for the ill, fuel the economy, provide a safer alternative than alcohol and tobacco. And we could do this, and our legislators could do this with one stroke of the pen. And that's why it's important for us to continue to advocate for hemp cannabis. Thank you for your attention.
I like seeing the efforts of Jay to help, legalize and provide a free market for a natural product that should never be on the black market.